Alright, let's try this again, shall we? What's going on, my peeps? How you doing today? Alright, so we will start off in politics and then work our way into Dinarland. So, do y'all know the difference between CGI and green screen? And I keep looking over there because I have notes. Because I have ADD. The difference between CGI and green screen is CGI obviously is computer generated image. So let's pick a random movie. Oh, I don't know. Let's say Star Wars. Who'd have thought I'd go there? But anyway, all right. So imagine Star Wars. Take Yoda for instance. Now, in the original trilogy, Yoda was a puppet. Obviously, in the prequels and whatever, what you saw was a computer-generated image, CGI. Now, the difference between that and green screen is so in the same prequels or the ones that came out afterwards. So you would imagine Anakin and Obi-Wan walking towards you, and you see like the big city or the big whatever behind you. So those two individuals are being shot in a warehouse that's all green. And then, so like if they walk up and then decide to sit down on a bench and have some discussion, in that warehouse there is a green bench, so they're actually sitting on a bench. But with it being all green, then when they go into editing, the computer removes everything that was green and superimposes on top of it a computer generated image. So that's where CGI and green screen meet. So what's going on in the White House and the debacle that we saw with the president giving his speech, I honestly believe that I'm not going down that rabbit hole right now for this discussion. I would have to guess that it's white hats. I'm hopping down the rabbit hole because when green screen first came out, you could tell it was green screen because there'd be that little fuzzy halo around whoever was being superimposed onto another image. With today's technology, again, Star Wars or whatever movie you pick, when they use green screens, it's crystal clear. So for Joe to have that fuzzy halo around him while he's sitting there addressing the nation tells me that they're doing that on purpose. They're dropping breadcrumbs for all the sheep to see. And then in that video, he had a watch on, and people have blown it up. It's the wrong time, so another breadcrumb. And then there was the audio recording when he called in to talk to Kamelhead, and it wasn't even 24 hours that some nerd came up with an AI program that basically he typed in what Joe was supposedly saying, and came out the exact same way or something to that effect. So again, that was debunked. So they're dropping all these breadcrumbs here and there. And then the other one was Jill was supposed to be at the White House with Joe. And then, side note, that Joe was like a foot taller than what he should have been or something like that. It was ridiculous of height comparisons side by side. But so at the same time, Jill was supposed to be with Joe at the White House. Jill was also in Paris at the same time. So that's a neat trick. I'd like to learn that one. So that's CGI versus green screen. That's kind of all I had on that. So what are we thinking about the 3,000 U.S. Marshals that are supposedly heading to or in D.C. by now, I would suppose? Is that for mass arrest? Are they finally going to round up all the congressmen, senators, whoever voted to certify 2020? It was funny that they dropped a note that all of a sudden they're going on vacation. So there's some quinky dinks for you. All right. What's the other distraction? Oh yeah, Antifa 3.0, where they did the whole Free Palestine thing and painted everything and had the big demonstrations, all that. So that was a big distraction. I'm so sick of all that. It's so staged, and it's just not even funny. So what else? I think that's about it for Clown World. So let's venture over to Dinarland. So all this stuff with the Whiskey and Wisdom show with Mark and Mike and Zester. So Mike is basically saying that his bond contact is a bond broker. So he sells bonds to other entities, whether that's a person or a government or business, whatever. So his contact will be paid once the bond recipients are paid. So he said on Whiskey and Wisdom that all contracts have been settled. And so what he described that as is their funds that they are going to receive, they're going to receive 1% of, I guess, whatever they see in fiat, and then the rest will come out once we go gold backed, according to their individual contracts, I suppose. But all contracts have been settled as of Wednesday, and that his contact expects to receive his money on Friday. So that means that bond people will had been paid between Wednesday night and Friday. If this individual is supposed to get paid on Friday. And then Mark, he was commenting that it's been told to him for years that once 30% of the bonds have been paid, then it would trigger our notifications. But they were saying on that show last night that Mike's contact said that everyone's going to get paid at once. So I guess that kind of sidebars the 30% thing. So Mark said that was the rumor that he was telling us on his show, that he knew, but he wasn't sharing until he could get some other confirmation on it. And so Mike let the cat out of the bag. So then Mark was like, yeah, that's the rumor that I've been holding close to my chest. So then on today's this morning's show, Mark says he's hearing that from his bond contacts that all contracts have to be out and delivered by August 1st. So I'm kind of wondering if that's misinformation, some fake date out there just to cloud timing. That's another another phrase that needs to be banned. Cloud timing. I never want to hear that again. And what else? So then he was just saying that basically reiterating that, not to jump off a cliff, that, only 30% of bonds have to be paid out in order to trigger notifications. So, my next question to y'all, sorry, allergies, Mississippi is horrible, oh my gosh. So what's your thoughts on, do we have notifications and the RV appointment like we've been told, or is it simply going to be, call JP Chase and, JP Morgan, whatever, and then go and set an appointment and talk to them? I'm not sure. It's kind of like if Iraq goes by itself, then I would think you just go to a bank or a private banker or wealth advisor, whatever. Me personally, I wouldn't step foot in Wells Fargo. I just think they're slimy. So then, my other thought is that if we have the global RV and, it's going to be, multi-millionaires or whatever, people with diverse portfolios, to me that seems like it would have to have some sort of a notification process, because I think that would just be like too many opportunities for people to have their funds stolen. Because I don't believe for a second, just because we have the QFS and all these great things, that there's still not going to be attempts at fraud. Bankers are bankers and always be bankers. So I would I would think that there's going to have to be some sort of a notification process, some sort of a redemption center, and that could be at a bank. But I think it would be with a private wealth advisor or a private banker, whatever you call it. Otherwise, it just doesn't make any sense that they would just, hand the key. It's like I've seen these videos where these kids, get these Ferraris and all this, super high-end sports cars, and then, they go out and they're like, oh, I can floor it and go as fast as I want, and then they literally like spin around and wreck the car. That would be the same thing as handing, this money over to a lot of people that don't know the first thing about managing money and having assets and things like that. I think it would just be setting people up for failure, and I don't think that is what the RV is all about. I'm just reading some notes because I have ADD. And I already mentioned that because I have ADD. So yeah, that's kind of all I got for this morning, based on everything that's going on. I get notifications from Lushman. It's all very positive, and Mark's new catchphrase, it's not getting us to the bank, but it's the articles that he puts out speaks to the strength and stability of Iraq's banking sectors, all the reforms that they've done in their banking. One just came out this morning talking about Iraq is issuing bonds, and for the purpose of getting dinar off the street. So like people who are more old school and got the mattress money and all that stuff, they're offering very secure and lucrative bond deals so that people will purchase bonds and from the government, and that's getting the dinar off the street. So they're making great strides to remove dinar from the streets, and that's I think that's a very good sign. But yeah, I mean, he's put out about 6 articles so far today that's just talking about that. I watched his video from yesterday this morning, and I tried my best to focus, but with his monotone voice and my ADD, it's like, oh yeah, what did you say? But things that I did catch is that he said that Sadani had made some a secret trip to Washington, and he's already back in Iraq, And then he has been having closed-door meetings with heads of different nations. They're making deals left and right, and like Milsterman always says, you're not doing it at 1320. So we know they're operating on two books. They have the rate. They know what it's going to be. My guess is they're just waiting on the United States to release it. That's the only thing that makes sense, because literally every BS excuse they've given us for why it's been delayed has expired. And literally, if they said anything else, I think everyone would just know that they're opening their mouth and lying. So I fully believe that it's the United States that's holding them up. I'm assuming for the RB. I'm guessing that it's going to be the global RB. It's all going to roll out once. Whether we have a shotgun start, that's really kind of the only thing that makes sense to me. That, bonds and RV, the tier 4B, A and B, I think it all would have to go at once. I think when people talk about tier 5, I'm not sure that tier 5 exists. I think when they say tier 5, I think that's just going to be when if you're Joe Bob and you've caught rumor that, your cousin Frank had dinar and went and cashed it in, got a bunch of money, and you're like, oh, I got dinar, so let me go to the bank. And when you walk in the bank, instead of them saying, oh, it's a scam, blah, 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 they're going to be like, oh, yeah, step over here, we'll verify your currency, here's what you get. So that's what I think tier 5 is. But, all right, guys. This is all new to me, so if I talk fast or whatever, use my hands too much, I apologize. It's all new. I'm not as polished as the others. But, last thought. As far as YouTube goes, I have to have, I'm just learning all this stuff. I have to have 50 subscribers before I can do a real-time live video where I can see you chatting and try to answer questions as we roll, like Mark does. So, share the link, like, subscribe, all that stuff, because then that makes the numbers happen faster, and then the faster we get to doing a live. Other thing, if you like this, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know, because it is it's a lot of work. It's easier to do a live because you don't have to do any editing. But this format is a time suck, and I didn't realize how much of a time suck it is. So if it's not beneficial to you, let me know. That way I can just put the axe to it. Until then, peace.